था इस्लामाबाद कराची सूत्र नहीं हो गई। जो भी सूत्र थे उनका न्यूज़ क्या रहा? हर बार खंडन करना पड़ता है, माफी मांगना पड़ता है उसके बाद। इसलिए अगर सूत्र को मूत्र नहीं बोला जाए, जो झूठा अफवाह फैलाता है तो मूत्र के बराबर है ना, वेस्टेज है, वेस्ट ही है ना।
Sources coming is as good as waste, as good as urine. Now, the issue of illegals in Bihar is not new. In 2019, the Home Ministry estimated around 10 lakh illegal immigrants in Bihar. Most illegals are believed to be settled in the Simanchal region. Kishanganj district of Bihar is said to have maximum number of illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. Then you have Purnia, Katihar and Araria. Some of the northeastern Bihar regions too are said to be populated with a lot of illegal immigrants who have all spilled over from Rohingyas, from Myanmar via Bangladesh, or even Bangladeshis who are there. Now, the recent arrest of Bangladeshi citizen Syed Iqbal at the Raxaul border further spotlighted this problem. Intelligence agencies have warned that Bangladeshi and Rohingya are entering Bihar via Nepal, aiming to be included in the voter list using fake Aadhaar cards and residence certificates, and a few hundred here and there could even determine win or loss for a potential candidate. In fact, in an order dated 18th August 2021, the Patna High Court asked the Bihar government to provide a plan for setting up a detention center for illegal immigrants. It sought a mechanism for identification and deportation of the persons suspected to be illegal migrants, more so from Bangladesh. Unquote. Let's go across to our guest this evening, KC Tyagiji of the JDU with us. We also have Pawan Verma of the Jan Suraj Party. We should have Sanjay Jha, a political analyst, joining us, and Rajiv Rudi, spokesperson of the BJP. All of them have their roots, draw their roots from Bihar. KC Tyagiji, namaste. Sanjay Jha ji, namaste. Pawan Verma and Rajiv Rudi ji should be joining us any moment. Any moment now. But KC Tyagi ji, how would you want to respond to what Tejasvi Yadav is saying? जब तक ऑफिशियल औपचारिक तौर पे नहीं आता तो ये हमारे लिए मूत्र के बराबर. It's like urine, like waste.
नहीं, उनके इस अनपार्लियामेंट्री जो रिमार्क है उस पर मैं कोई टिप्पणी नहीं करना चाहता. चुनाव आयोग को लेकर के जो विपक्षी दलों ने सवाल उठाया है तो मैं आपकी जानकारी में लाऊं. मेरे साथ पवन वर्मा जी भी राज्यसभा में थे, रूडी जी भी राज्यसभा में थे, मैं भी राज्यसभा में था, और एक और सज्जन राज्यसभा में थे. उनका नाम था श्री MS गिल, जो मुख्य चुनाव आयुक्त रह चुके थे, जो सेंट्रल कैबिनेट में मिनिस्टर भी रह चुके थे. तो क्या मैं मानूं कि चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर MS गिल के रहते चुनाव में धांधली हुई होगी? लेकिन हमने कभी सवाल नहीं उठाया. लगातार चुनाव में पराजय होते हुए छुटपुट गड़बड़ियां 1952 से हो रही हैं. 1971 में जब मिसेस गांधी ने थम्पिंग मेजोरिटी जीती थी तब भी कई लोगों ने कह दिया था कि रूस से शाही आई. हम तो वो भी नहीं मानते. बांग्लादेश की जीत थी, इंदिरा गांधी की सेकुलर सोशलिस्ट इमेज थी, उसकी वजह से वो जीतती थी. हम तो ऐसा मानते हैं. लेकिन अब इसमें जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में लोग चले गए, 28 तारीख को फिर पुनः सुनवाई है. मैं थोड़ा सा बहुत संक्षेप में 2-3 चीजें अपने जो विरोधी पक्ष के मित्र उनसे कहना चाहता हूं. 80% फार्म जमा हो चुके हैं, बल्कि एज ऑन टुडे 84%. 1 अगस्त को ड्राफ्ट मतदाता सूची जारी हो जाएगी, जिनके फार्म 25 जुलाई तक जमा होंगे. 1 अगस्त से लेकर के, मेरे मित्र सुन लें जरा, 1 अगस्त से लेकर 1 सितंबर तक ये जो नाम जोड़ने या आपत्ति दर्ज कराने का आवेदन कर सकते हैं. इतना लंबा समय मिलेगा. 30 सितंबर को मतदाता सूची जारी होगी, राजनीतिक दलों को ड्राफ्ट सूची दे दी जाएगी और चुनाव की वेबसाइट पर आ जाएगी. इसमें क्या दिक्कत है? इसके बाद कैसे इलेक्शन कमीशन बेईमानी कर सकता है? और जहां तक आर्टिकल 326 का आप जिक्र कर रहे थे कि जो भारत का निवासी नहीं है उसको वोट डालने का अधिकार नहीं है. जनता दल यूनाइटेड जो NDA का हिस्सा है और नीतीश कुमार की क्रेडिबिलिटी ये रही है, संजय झा जी बता देंगे, हमारे पुराने मित्र हैं ये, कि वहाँ पर JDU को वोट मिलते रही हैं, अच्छी खासी वोट मिलती रही हैं. किशनगंज से हम जीते हैं, पूर्णिया लोकसभा हम जीते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये कोई कम्युनल इशू है. JDU की रही है क्रेडिबिलिटी वहाँ पर. जो अच्छा, जहाँ तक बैकवर्ड और माइनॉरिटी और शेड्यूल कास्ट का सवाल है तो उनका तो नेता नीतीश कुमार है, जो सबसे ज्यादा मार्जिनलाइज सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी हैं. पिछड़ों में अति पिछड़े हैं, दलितों में अति दलित हैं. उनका एकमात्र और सबसे रेस्पेक्टेबल लीडर नीतीश कुमार है, तो हम अपनी वोट क्यों कटवाएंगे? तो सारे लॉजिक ये इरेलेवेंट है।
Pawan Verma ji, do you agree with what Tejasvi is saying? Do you, or are you inclined to believe what KC Tyagi is saying? Because you may question the robustness of a report, but does this also not smack of appeasement? Are there elements who actually are okay with support coming even from illegals, non-Bharatiya, if that means they will win?
Many thanks, Anand. First of all, I find the statement made by Tejasvi Yadav to be disgraceful. For someone holding a constitutional post of the leader of opposition in a state to use this kind of language is not only objectionable, not only embarrassing, it's downright wrong. And I want to put this on record. Now, as far as the substantive issue, which my good friend KC Tyagi ji also explained, please understand the position of the Jan Swaraj Party. We are not against the right of the Election Commission to establish the credibility and integrity of the voter list. That is within the purview under the Constitution of the Election Commission. The only issues that we raised were precisely the issues also raised by the Supreme Court without actually interfering in the work of the ECI. The Supreme Court essentially raised three questions. One was the criteria on which you will include people in the voter list. The Supreme Court questioned the exclusion of basic documents such as the Aadhaar card, the voter card or the ration card. In fact, on many television shows and in my column I have said that the 11 documents that the Election Commission has enumerated are themselves available on the basis of having an Aadhaar card. So why exclude the Aadhaar card? Secondly, the Supreme Court, and so did we, raised the question of the timing. By that I mean that just a few months ago we had the parliamentary election. No one questioned the credibility of the parliamentary elections, because just before it, the Election Commission had carried out a summary revision of the voter rolls. And the Bihar Election Commission, which reports to the main Election Commission in Delhi, had expressed the fact that it had done so, this exercise satisfactorily. On that basis, the BJP won the mandate to form the government, and it is in power today. Now, just a few months after that, you order a SIR, a far bigger exercise. Again, that is the right of the Election Commission. We question the timing, because if indeed this exercise was needed in Bihar, my simple and genuine question to the Election Commission is, should you not have started the exercise much earlier? You start an exercise as massive as the SIR in June, when the elections are to take place at the end of October. The time is too short, and the exclusion already of well-established documents has created on the ground, I can say to you, notwithstanding what KC Tyagi ji said on the basis of statistics supplied by the Election Commission, there is a state of panic and confusion on the ground, as people are completely unaware of how to suddenly prove their own credibility and bona fides as a voter.
But
and lastly, and this is also important, just one, it will take me 20 seconds. Lastly, the Supreme Court clarified categorically that the mandate of the Election Commission is not to establish citizenship. That is the mandate of the Home Ministry. So, in this exercise, while I am happy that any Ghuspetiyas, as they are called, or people who are not a citizens of this country are being weeded out. Jan Suraj's real concern is, what about those voters who are genuinely Indian citizens, who in the kind of confusion and panic created by this exercise because
Right.
of the short time given
Right.
are
Let-
excluded from
Okay.
the voter roll.
Let Rajiv
That
Rudi
is
ji
our
answer-
only question.
Let Rajiv Rudi ji answer this. This is notwithstanding 80% of the enumeration forms, 84% as KC Tyagi ji just submitted, have already been submitted with so much more time left. We have nearly about 10 days to go for this entire process to be completed. Yes, Rajiv Rudi ji.
Yeah, what's the question? So
No, the question is why-
What do you want to find out?
No, why could not there be more time accorded? Why confuse the genuine voter? Because there is confusion on ground. You may want to weed out the non-voters or the non-Bharatiya from this. Everybody welcomes it, but the genuine voters are also getting confused. Why this? If this voter list was robust for Lok Sabha 2024, why is it not robust for Bihar 2025?
Well, I really don't understand where is the confusion. Election Commission is conducting a process, and as Mr. Pavan Verma said, that we have just had the elections in which possibly he just did quote that the ruling coalition did have a majority in Bihar, and they did vote for it in the past elections. Why is the hurry to it? So he wants to say, and under his premise what he says, that this will delete all the legitimate voters and this would create chaos. So we should be more scared because we have won, and they should be least scared because they did not do it so well. So do you think we are going to chip our own feet? So it's not that. The process of election which has been initiated, an intensive revision which is taking place after 23 years, is a process which the Election Commission has initiated. And if the Election Commission is confident in seeing that the process is completed in due course of time, where is the problem? If the Election Commission by mandate says that we cannot have voters who come from, say, Bangladesh, we cannot have voters who can come from Myanmar or maybe Pakistan for that matter, it's a job to see that all those who don't deserve to be there should not be there. And it's a job of the Election Commission to see that those who should be there should be there. So I don't know where is the confusion, where is the panic about, and let them do the process. And if they are unable to do the process, please go back to the Supreme Court, the highest law of land, tell them that, look, Election Commission has failed in its duty. Why raise this hue and cry much prior to the process is being completed? And why is that it is only the opposition parties, the so-called opposition parties, are crying hoarse, and those who have also to get elected, and people like us who also have a political party which we are attached with, we also have to field our candidates. We are not panicking. So what kind of a situation are they talking that, look, if this action happens, this will be against us, and if this happens, it is going to favor that.
Yeah.
I am amazed at the thought process of my colleagues and friends when they come to this conclusion that whatever happens in this country, whether election, revision of electoral rules, or for that matter any policy, it is against them. Well, if they have to think like that, they have every right to think like that. They have every right to speak about it. They have every right to go to the Supreme Court. But end of the day, Supreme Court did not stop the process of intensive revision in the state of Bihar.
Right.
And that it came with certain observations. And of course, if Supreme Court makes certain observations, they certainly have to be looked by the Election Commission. So where is that the flaw which they are talking is affecting the so-called
I think
innocent voters who would be not
somewhere,
allowed?
Sanjay Jha ji, thank you for your patience, and I'll go back to KC Tyagi ji after Sanjay Jha makes his comment. Does it smack of appeasement? The line that's been taken, that Muslims will be struck off the voter list, backward castes will be struck off the voter list, Dalits will be struck off the voter. That's the line the likes of Tejasvi Yadav and Rahul Gandhi are taking. Does that not smack of appeasement?
Anand, good evening to you and to my fellow panelists. Firstly, I want to tell you that I'm glad you've got 4 people from Bihar We are all stakeholders in Bihar's future. We have an emotional investment with the state of our origins. Here are my very short points. I think, we are being very presumptuous in believing that political leaders get always carried away by rhetoric and hyperbole simply because there is an election. I mean, these are very legitimate apprehensions. And I want to basically depoliticize this conversation. So, since my friend Mr. Rudy and Tyagi ji, whom I have enormous respect for, have said that the Election Commission is doing what it ought to do, let me quote to you not a political party, but let me quote to you the Supreme Court of India, which is, by the way, going to pass its verdict on July 28th or maybe in a couple of days or weeks later. This is what Justice Dhulia said, and he is the Justice of the Supreme Court. If you ask me for these documents, I myself cannot show you all these documents. This is a Justice of the Supreme Court. Now, I come from Bihar. I've lived there for many years. I've been out of my state for a long time.
Right.
But I have relatives, and I follow the state's destiny very closely. I can tell you one thing, Anand. We are all very privileged in cities who are in digital, transaction age. But there are so many people, and I request Rudy ji and Tyagi ji to look at the caste survey done by Nitish Kumar himself. And what did that caste survey tell you? That the number of postgraduates in the state are less than 2%. That end of day 85% and above of the people are belonging to the other backward caste and the Dalits and the Adivasis. And that barring a small section, maybe 1%, nobody even has a passenger car. It's a different state. It's not Delhi, it's not Gujarat, it's not Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu. I also know this for a fact.
Sanjay, could you connect?
No, Rajiv ji, let me finish. Rajiv ji, just let me finish. When the Supreme
He's
Court,
asking you to
I want
connect the two.
because
Yeah.
Bihar's backwardness is being connected to the voter list and all.
Well-
I'm slightly getting
well,
confused.
Rajiv ji,
Maybe
let me
the
finish
viewers
my
are
argument.
Also. So I just a small.
It
Yeah,
is correlated because it also links to access to information and documents that you're talking about. I'll give you one example. If you look at your 11 documents, they presuppose, they almost assume that people in Bihar have very landed property with documents, or they're all qualified people who have had formal education, or they are in some kind of a public sector or government employment. These are all very erroneous and fallacious assumptions. Anand, just let
Ji.
me make the crucial point here. The crucial point, therefore, is
Coming
what
to
I
Rajiv
think
ji.
Pawan has already very correctly articulated, which is that if the EC really believed that this was to be done, my one question to Mr. Rudy is, why didn't the EC, because we are now talking of EC and BJP almost as if they are synonyms, why didn't the EC start this exercise 6 months earlier? Why didn't the EC start this exercise 9 months earlier? Why have you given people a 1 month window? And the second question, why has the EC started sending out notices that all states will have an SIR without even waiting for the Supreme Court's final verdict on the issue? And
Right.
the Supreme Court is very clear. The timing is controversial. You're putting the burden of
Right.
proof on citizenship on the ordinary people of India. And third, why aren't you accepting documents like Aadhaar
Right.
or the ration card
Now-
or the
now there
Mandela
are- there
job
are-
card?
Sanjay
which ought to be
ji,
legitimized?
Sanjay ji,
Can I come
yeah,
back?
let
on
Rajiv
this?
Rudy ji, Rajiv Rudy ji, and then
Sanjay ji, I
Kisi
need to come back.
Ji.
Now Sanjay is a very fine human being. He talks very well. Now there is a small gap here, Sanjay. I stay in a village. And and 30 years I've been staying in a village, and this is my 7th term in parliament. And of course, Sanjay has been familiar, as he very candidly said, that he has relatives in Bihar and that he comes to know about Bihar through relatives. Very fine. Diligent relatives must be telling him what is happening. But Mr. Jha, your relatives come from a forward community, and they basically are not the haves of, they are the real haves of Bihar, but possibly they do not connect to the ground. The only fact which I would like to ascertain, please come with me to my village. When I call the poorest of poor in my village and ask him, show me what documents have, he opens his potli and comes out with at least 12 certificates, half of them which he cannot even read. But please do not demean the people from Bihar by saying that they are illiterate, they don't understand, they are poor, they don't have anything within hands. their means and they are so poor. Please come with me. They would carry it. Even an old lady will come clutching whether she has a Aadhaar card, whether she has a ration card, or whether she has a caste certificate. They are very Bihar that way is fantastic. So please don't ever tell people from Bihar, and especially those who can't understand our English, that they are incapable of holding papers. You have to come. They bring out so many papers.
कागज सबके पास होते हैं, sir.
Like me and you cannot. And what the Honorable Justice said was correct. So what he said that we as rich and the privileged may not carry papers because we come with this credit cards and all, but they have ask them for an Ayushman card, they will bring it out. Ask them for a caste identity, they'll bring it out. Ask them for a patta of a jameen if they have got, they'll bring it out. Please do not underestimate the poor.
Sir, because that is the source of their sustenance. ये उनकी आजीविका उनकी आजीविका के लिए important है.
So part A. Now this is part A, which was denied by my friend Sanjay, but please, for God's sake, do not deride Bihar that badly, that only 2% postgraduates.
Right.
Most of us who got educated are not staying in Bihar. They have come here and become journalists or the bureaucrats or everything. Most of them people ran away from Bihar because we were very selfish that way. We wanted to have better opportunities, and we talk about Bihar not being in Bihar. So unfortunately, it's a fact which we all have to accept. Even Pawan has become the foreign service. I do not know how many times he connects back to Bihar. And of course, but not to say
now in his current role he does
so
perhaps
all the
a little more than
talk
perhaps
about
in the
Bihar,
past.
Do not go to Bihar, but we talk about Bihar. Perfect. Now coming back to the other aspect, why so little time was given? The onus is on the Election Commission. Let them not do it, and I and people like us will get after their life and say, why did you say that you will complete the process? And if there is any error or irregularity or something which you feel, please go back to the Supreme Court and say, this has not been done. But let the process which has been initiated, why cry hoarse on a process which has been initiated for the rightful people to be to be legitimate.
Okay,
to
Rajiv
vote.
ji, now
And
Kisi
why are
Tyagi
you
ji
getting after Assam or West Bengal? Let's forget that. Let's talk about
Yes, Pawan ji, coming to you after
much
Kesi
more.
Tyagi ji, I'll just circle back to Pawan ji. The point is, Kesi Tyagi ji also said this entire SIR happened across the country over a period of 2 years, viewers, 2003 to 2005, because of the computerization of documents. It started with Bihar again, and in Bihar in 2003 it was completed in 30 days. We must put that on record. ये 2025 है. 2025 में आप कह रहे हैं 22 years later it can't be completed in 30 days. And Sanjay Jha ji, you said caste survey happened in Bihar. How did it happen if people didn't have caste certificates? That means, and caste certificate is one of the 11 documents they're going to produce. And you don't have to produce all 11 documents. Any one document, केसी त्यागी जी, ये 11 में से कोई एक दस्तावेज ही कह रहा है एन्यूमरेशन फॉर्म, सभी 11 नहीं मांग रहा है.
अभी रूडी जी ने अपनी बात रखी है, उन्हीं को मैं थोड़ा और मजबूत कहना चाहता हूं, लेकिन मैं अपने प्रिय मित्र झा जी से ज़रूर कहना चाहता हूं कि जो अब ये बड़ी बहस हो जाएगी, और आज का ये मुद्दा भी जो आप में आनंद जी उठाया वो नहीं था. मनमोहन सिंह जी जब प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे तो जनता दल यूनाइटेड की तरफ से मैं, वशिष्ठ नारायण सिंह और हमारे नेता शरद यादव गए थे कि बिहार को विशेष राज्य का दर्जा दो, और उसके एडवोकेट तब भी और अब भी मेरे मित्र पवन वर्मा जी भी थे कि हमें मिलना चाहिए. रघुराम राजन कमेटी बनी, उसने कहा टर्म ऑफ रेफरेंसेस इसके पक्ष में नहीं है. मैं अपने तीनों बिहारी मित्रों से कहना चाहता हूं, जब तक बिहार को विशेष राज्य का दर्जा नहीं मिलेगा, बिहार गुजरात महाराष्ट्र जैसा उन्नत राज्य नहीं बन पाएगा. क्योंकि बंटवारे के बाद सारे एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन, सारे बड़े शहर, सारे मिनरल्स, सब चीज़ें झारखंड में चलेगी, और पावर्टी और बैकवर्डनेस जो है वो सारी की सारी बिहार के हिस्से में आई. तो एक टेक्निकल पॉइंट, संजय झा जी आप मेरे से भी ज़्यादा पढ़े लिखे हैं, लेकिन मैं आपकी जानकारी में लाना चाहता हूँ. दूसरा, आपने आधा कोट किया जस्टिस को. जस्टिस ने तो आप अपोजिशन पार्टीज में नहीं है, सॉरी, मैं आपको उनसे अलग मानता हूँ, और जिस पार्टी में थे आपने उसको भी इस काबिल नहीं समझा कि आप उसमें रहें, उसके लिए धन्यवाद. लेकिन चुनाव आयोग को स्वतंत्र, ऑटोनोमस, इंडिपेंडेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मानते हुए उस रिट को भी रिजेक्ट किया जिसमें SIR को कैंसिल करने की बात
जी।
थी और चुनाव आयोग पर तरह तरह के आरोप लगा रहे थे। और अगर मैं कहूं कि चुनाव आयोग को एक क्लीन चिट दी तो कोई ज्यादा नहीं होगा। और फिर जब चुनाव आयोग की आपने बात की, मैं कोट किया था, उस समय पवन वर्मा जी और रूडी जी नहीं थे। चुनाव आयोग तो आपके कांग्रेस पार्टी का मिनिस्टर रह चुका है चुनाव आयोग का, हम तो उसमें भी आरोप नहीं लगा रहे। MS गिल राज्यसभा के MP थे, हम तीनों के साथ, और सेंट्रल कैबिनेट में मिनिस्टर भी थे। तो एक तो टाइम इतना बचा हुआ है, 84%। ये चुनाव आयोग की वो नहीं है वेबसाइट, ये मैं एक पॉलिटिकल एक्टिविस्ट होने के नाते कहता हूँ। 84% के फार्म जमा हो गए और अभी तो काफ़ी दिन बचे हुए हैं। और अब तो जो मोबाइल और ये सारी चीज़ें हैं, 2 घंटे में सारे काम होते हैं। उसके बाद जो महत्वपूर्ण चीज़ मैंने कही थी संजय झा जी कि 1 अगस्त को जो ड्राफ्ट मतदाता सूची है वो जारी हो जाएगी। महत्वपूर्ण बात यह है जो आप अपने मित्रों से कह सकते हो कि 1 अगस्त से 1 सितंबर तक, पवन जी को भी मैं कहना चाहता हूं, नाम जोड़ने और आपत्ति दर्ज कराने के आवेदन कर सकेंगे पूरे 1 महीना। और बिहारी सबसे ज़्यादा इंटेलिजेंट, सबसे ज़्यादा मेहनती और सबसे ज़्यादा आर्टिकुलेट कम्युनिटी है, इसलिए उनके दिमाग पर शक करना, उनकी एफिशिएंसी पर शक करना गलत है। और
जी आप अपनी बात पूरी कीजिए, फिर मैं
तो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं, हाँ, दूसरा ये है कि कास्ट सेंसस को भी सब लोग मजाक उड़ा रहे थे। भाई 75 साल आप मना रहे हैं, तो ये तो गांधी जी ने कहा था, राष्ट्रपिता ने, मैं तो मानता हूं भी उसको, ही वॉज द फादर ऑफ द नेशन, जिनकी वजह से ये सब हुआ, कि आखिरी आदमी देखो लाइन का उसके चेहरे पर रौनक है कि नहीं है। तो उसी के आधार पर बिहार की जो NDA सरकार है उसने कास्ट सेंसस किया और उसके जो नतीजे बहुत चौंकाने वाले हैं। लिहाजा जो मार्जिनलाइज सेक्शंस हैं, जो पीछे रह गए हैं, उनको मुख्य धारा के साथ जोड़ने का प्रयास वहाँ की सरकार कर रही है, जिसको तथाकथित एस्टेब्लिश्ड जो सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी हैं वो कास्टिज्म कहते हैं। तो ये तो बड़े आनंद जी बड़ी लंबी बहस है, लेकिन मैं इसको समाप्त कर रहा हूं।
बहस है, लेकिन जो विपक्ष कर रहा है, जो विपक्ष अभी कर रहा है, आपने कहा एक प्रक्रिया है, उस प्रक्रिया को पूरी होने दीजिए। इफ दैट प्रोसेस इज नॉट प्रॉपर।
भाई मैं 6 लोकसभा के, मैं सुनिए आनंद जी 7 लोकसभा के चुनाव लड़ चुके हैं रूडी जी, और 6 में लड़ चुका हूं। और मेरे मित्र पवन जी राज्यसभा में आ गए, इनको तो रिवीजन कराने की आवश्यकता नहीं पड़ी। मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि हर बार रिवीजन होता है। जो लोग मृत हो गए हैं उनके नाम कटेंगे कि नहीं कटेंगे? 18 साल से ज्यादा के जो मतदाता जुड़ गए उनके नाम जुड़ेंगे कि नहीं जुड़ेंगे? अब चुके EVM पर अभी आप कहोगे मैं भी EVM
नहीं, मैं समझ गया आपकी बात, लेकिन इस बार जो हो रहा है त्यागी जी, वो इंटेंसिव रिवीजन हो रहा है, वो इंटरिम रिवीजन नहीं हो रहा है, इंटेंसिव रिवीजन हो रहा है। और ये इंटेंसिव रिवीजन की प्रक्रिया को लेकर क्वेश्चंस आर बीइंग आस्क्ड,
उसमें भी ये चीज जुड़ेंगी।
Questions are being asked.
उसमें भी ये चीज जुड़ेंगी।
Correct. If there are anomalies, the court will be pointing out. But the honorable court also said that you can consider Aadhaar and ration card if possible. But it's the very Congress party, Pawan Verma ji, in 2021 on the floor of the House, Dr. Tharoor and Manish Tiwari said Aadhaar is identity. Aadhaar cannot be citizenship. And you cannot use it for voter verification. Yeah. Now that's a volte-face that the Congress party is doing right now. You can't change your position, shift your position in 4 years and totally differently because it suits you now. Enfranchisement in Maharashtra was an issue, disenfranchisement in Bihar is an issue now. It's like कि भाई ढोल दोनों तरफ है, जहां से सुर ज्यादा बज रहे हैं उसी तरफ से ज्यादा बजाएंगे. That's not fair, especially in a process like this. Yes, Pawan Verma ji.
Anand, you understand some basic Urdu and Hindustani, so I'll just begin by a very simple couplet.
जी.
गुनाहगार समझेगी दुनिया तुझे, बस इतनी भी ज्यादा सफाई न दे. I find it a bit strange. I'm not saying it is not honest. I find it a bit strange that whenever there is a discussion on what the Election Commission of India's decisions are, or what methodology it chooses, for some strange reason, the party in power, as in this case the NDA with the BJP, is routinely supportive. Whereas in a democracy, all political parties have the constitutional right, even while respecting a constitutional institution like the Election Commission, to ask questions to it in a constructive spirit. But the BJP never has any questions.
No, but is the spirit of the
BJP
Congress
will
party?
support
Point
the
taken,
election
Pawan Verma ji, just
commission
allow me an
blindly.
intervention. Is the opposition being constructive in its criticism, or is it being intensely personal and acerbic?
I cannot speak for the rest of the opposition, but I can speak for my party, which is a new party in Bihar, Jan Swaraj, led by Prashant Kishore. The Jan Swaraj party has not questioned the Election Commission's right to clarify and clean up the electoral rules. No. What we are saying is that when you did this exercise just a few months ago at the summary level, that was good enough for you because it got you into power. Today, a few months later, you are carrying out a special intensive revision. Well and good, that's the Election Commission's decision. You could have taken more time to do it without creating the kind of panic and confusion I believe exists on the ground.
but
because
how
the
much time is
documents
enough,
that
sir?
you are mentioning.
Now, Pawanji,
Anand,
a simple
please let me
question is,
finish.
who
The
decides how much time is
documents that you are
required?
mentioning, people may or may not have, but the exclusion of basic documents like Aadhaar, to my mind, seem totally incomprehensible.
But
And as far
the
as
Honorable
what-
Supreme
as far as
Court,
what my
the
good
opposition of this
Yes,
government
yes.
of this country, which is currently in opposition, and also the Election Commission have said that Aadhaar is a biometric proof of identity. It is not a proof of citizenship. Now, if that's the case, then how can I? Because even a Nepali today can have an Aadhaar. Even an Irish person in India can have an Aadhaar. Even a Bangladeshi can have an Aadhaar.
Okay,
A Rohingya
now-
can have an
now-
Aadhaar. But does that make them
Anand,
eligible to
Anand.
vote and as Bharatiya? That's the question, sir. It does not.
Anand, please understand, the 11 other documents enumerated by the Election Commission also do not on their own establish citizenship. The Constitution says that anyone after 1950 born in India has the right to be an Indian citizen. The job of establishing citizenship, the Supreme Court pointed out in its last hearing, is that of the Home Ministry.
Correct.
The Election Commission uses an identity which is credible in order to exclude
Yeah,
or
but the
include you
identity
in a
that
voter
links you
list.
closest to that particular region is your caste certificate, is your domicile, and also if you have landed property along with another document. Now, correct me if I am wrong, Rajiv Rudi ji.
Okay, now.
One minute, Rajiv Rudi ji, would you want to answer,
This
Pawan
is
ji?
not fair to me.
Yes.
So
I'm
this is
so
not fair to
thankful.
me. I have not
I'm so
completed.
thankful
You
that
have
we
you have
defined
asked me more
What's the difference
questions than
between
I
an
could answer.
identity card and what is the difference between being a citizen or rightful legitimate being a voter? Part A, Election Commission is good enough to defend itself and it draws its authority from the Constitution, and the place where it can be disputed is the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court did not stay the process of intensive revision. We as citizens or political parties, we have nothing against the Election Commission if it adopts a certain process, because we trust it to be an autonomous body working under the legality of the Constitution, protecting the interest of the voters, it's doing its legitimate task. And here Pawan, my friend, is saying that we are not against the particular action of the Election Commission in doing the revision. He's saying that why are you doing it when you have already done it? I have never seen such an argument that if an election commission which wants to do an intensive revision at a given point of time is being said that why you are doing it because you have done something is something which actually I cannot
The other
understand,
question,
and most of the
Rajiv ji,
viewers
you have to
will never
also,
be
you have
able
to
to
concede to the opposition that the opposition believes that doing it within
Please
one...
allow me a
Ji,
rebuttal.
Ji,
Please allow me a rebuttal.
Ji, please, Pawan ji, go ahead, please.
You see, I did not say
Pawan,
that,
I'm not
and
saying
I am a
anything,
little
I'm just
surprised
pointing
that
out
my
what you
good
said.
friend
And
Rajiv
I believe,
and
before
my
I
good
conclude,
friend
Pawan,
Rajiv,
before
I'm a
last
little
point.
surprised.
So,
No, sir, I'm a little
Yes, my friend.
surprised. Now, Anand
Yes,
gave
go
me
ahead.
the floor, Rajiv ji. So, with your permission, I'm a little surprised
Yes,
that
go
my
on.
We have another 3 or 4 minutes left, so I request, because I'd like Sanjay Jaji and KC Tyagi ji also to get a word in. So Pawan ji, quick with your rebuttal, please.
Yeah, I'll be very brief.
Ji.
I'll be very brief.
Ji, ji.
I did not say that why is the election commission, because it has not done so since 2003, carrying out an SIR in Bihar. I did not say that. I said if you had to carry it out, you should have done it with much more time. Because KC Tyagi himself flagged the point. He said Bihar needs special status. I asked him that you are in government in Delhi and in Bihar. You are a double engine sarkar. Why have you not given
Oh, we are
it?
digressing.
Bihar
No.
One minute.
Pawan ji,
Most poor and
Pawan ji,
backward.
we will have a separate debate for special status another day. But other thing is, KC Tyagi ji, har kisi ka ye position. Sanjay Jaji also, allow me please, sir. Final leg. So KC Tyagi ji, the argument is, समय क्यों ज़्यादा नहीं लिया गया? Do they have to initiate it in June or July, 1st of July? They could have done it on 1st of April. साल में 4 बार they can look at it. 1st of January, 1st of April, 1st of July, 1st of October. Why not in 1st of April? थोड़ा और समय लेके ढंग से कर लेते. ये रश्ट क्यों हो रहा है? That's the larger question.
यही सवाल पूछ रहा हूं मैं.
केसी त्यागी जी.
आनंद जी, आपने खुद एक्सेप्ट किया है और ये एक फैक्ट है कि 84% फार्म जमा हो चुकी है. अभी काफ़ी समय बचा है, 24 घंटे के अंदर 16% भी जमा हो जाएंगे. इसमें मेरे चारे पैनलिस्ट दोस्त को किसी को ऐतराज़ी नहीं होगा शायद. उसके बाद इसको मतदाता सूची तैयार होगी. जिनको ऑब्जेक्शन करना है, अपोजिशन को भी, रूलिंग पार्टी को, मैं उनके लिए भी कह रहा हूँ, जो मेरे मित्र बैठे हैं, रूडी जी या मैं, हम लोग चाहें तो हम भी कर सकते हैं. और दूसरा ये हर चीज़ को पॉलिटिकल एजेंडा बनाते हैं. ये एनआरसी नहीं है. एनआरसी का काम, चुनाव आयोग का काम एनआरसी कराने का नहीं है. ये जस्टिस ने भी कहा है. अब ये हमारे दोस्त कह रहे हैं कि एनआरसी लागू करा रही. और भाई माफ़ करना, मैं पवन जी आपके लिए और संजय झा जी के लिए नहीं कहना चाहता, लेकिन जो एक पार्टी है आरजेडी, वो क्या कह सकती है? अभी पवन जी ने प्रोटेस्ट किया, वो एनआरसी लागू कर देंगे. हर वक्त उनके दिमाग में चुनाव वोट रहती है. और जिसका वो जिक्र कर रहे हैं, मैं बहुत कैटेगरिकली आपके उस पर कहना चाहता हूं, इन चारों जिलों में मेरे चारों मित्र बैठे हुए हैं, जेडीयू का जन आधार रहा है. और किशनगंज जहां पे 58% मुस्लिम हैं, वहां से रूडी जी के और मेरे दोस्त शाहनवाज जीत चुके हैं, और वो भी बीजेपी के सिंबल में. तो वहाँ की जो माइनॉरिटीज़ है, उनको डराना धमकाना कि नहीं एनआरसी आ जाएगी, इकट्ठे हो जाओ, वोट दो, ये इसके अलावा और कोई एक्सरसाइज नहीं है. और चुनाव आयोग पर मैं फिर कहना चाहता हूँ, चुनाव आयोग को लेकर हर बार, मैं जब पहली बार 84 में चुनाव लड़ा लोकसभा का, मैं भी धरने पर बैठ गया था. बट आई वॉज रॉन्ग एंड ईसी वॉज करेक्ट. और यही इसमें होगा. जो चुनाव आयोग है, उसको किसी न किसी बहाने, आप ईवीएम के बहाने गाली दो, आप इसके बहाने दो, इसके बाद भी हार जाओगे तो कोई और नया तरीका ढूंढो.
नहीं, वो पिछली बार धरने पे बैठे हो, कह रहे हैं ईसी सही था, इस बार धरने पे नहीं बैठ रहे हैं, फिर भी ईसी सही रहेगा. वो तो त्यागी जी वो कह रहे हैं. बट संजय झा, this is the last part. Does this not smack of appeasement when the opposition specifically tries to rile up the sentiment of one community and also breaks down the Hindu work and talks only about the backward classes? This is open appeasement. क्या आपका किसी सवर्ण का वोट नहीं कटेगा क्या? कोई सवर्ण गरीब नहीं हो सकता? No, we are making certain blanket sweeping statements while playing this entire dangerous appeasement game. आज की तारीख में आप देखें तो more सवर्ण are the have-nots and more from the OBC and backward classes are haves. That's the reality on the ground.
I disagree.
Well, Anand, if I can, since you have brought me in the end, give me some time to wrap up. I think it is absolutely absurd and preposterous if political parties begin to treat the fight for the dispossessed, for the backward caste, for the Dalits and the Adivasis as appeasement, then I'm telling you, as a future of our country is going to be bleak. And here is my point. I belong to a forward caste community from Bihar. And I'm the first one to tell you on your program that I believe there is caste exploitation in Bihar, and there must be a caste survey to ensure both social and economic justice. Here is my second point. Rajiv ji, I was wrong. I was wrong that 2% of the people are postgraduates in Bihar. The actual number is 1%. It's not even 2%. I'm a very proud Bihari. And I can tell you, because I'm a proud Bihari and because I believe Bihar deserves better, I think we need a fair election. It is important. And I'll tell you, Anand, just
Ji.
1 minute. You don't
Ji.
interrupt me, please. I'm
No,
going to take
I'm
30
not.
seconds.
Please, go ahead.
I look at the hard data, man. 1/3 of people from Bihar are poor. And poor people don't migrate and come back carrying their official documents, which is why Justice Dhulia made that comment. And I'm telling you, Tyagi ji made a pertinent point. 80% of the people have given documents. But Tyagi ji, what if tomorrow out of those 80% of the documents, 25% are deemed to be inappropriate? Are you going to create justice within the 1 month period? Why are you creating apprehension?
So, but
in the
that is
minds
again
of
a
the
what
people?
if, no sir.
That's a
Let
fundamental question.
let there, what my humble submission to everybody is, let it happen. This what if and therefore, maybe and therefore is a very
You've got to
dangerous thing.
anticipate
Now,
the
I'm just
problems,
saying,
right?
today 84%, when all the documents are completed, after that also they have at least 30 to 35 days more for supplementing and producing supplementary documents and for a review. And at that time, if it is inappropriate, anybody or everybody in their own interest will go to the courts, because everybody, for all political parties who are in contention, each vote is important. That's what I'm trying to say. The other thing is, sir, education levels and carrying their papers and documents are not directly correlated.
They are.
For those whom every single dole from the sarkar is important for their sustenance, they will have those papers far more for who are not directly dependent on the government for doles. That's a reality in our country. And we should appreciate that. And any one of those papers is enough, because it's part of those 11 documents. To all my panelists and to our viewers, thank you very much. We've far exceeded time, but it's been a very engaging conversation. And thank you for making it very constructive and engaging, gentlemen. Always a pleasure to have you. Thank you. Now to something that's got to do directly with your palate, what we consume, how we eat. The favorite samosa, jalebi at the canteen may soon come with this perhaps slide of guilt. Even a small cup of tea might carry a sugar warning. In a bid to tackle rising obesity and non-communicable diseases, the Union Health Ministry has directed government institutions to display oil and sugar warnings for everyday snacks, urging healthier choices. Now, this comes in the wake of the alarming data from the National Family Health Survey, which shows that 1 in 5 adults in urban areas are overweight. The move aims to promote healthier diets, reduce healthcare costs and improve overall well-being, inspired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Fit India campaign. Also, there is an alarming statistic, viewers. By the year 2050, if we go on the path that we are going on, nearly 45 crore of Bharat's people will be obese or overweight, second only to the United States. Now, this step aims to promote more active lifestyle across age groups and the country. Now, samosas and jalebis are high-calorie foods where people don't just eat one, but just one piece of these popular foods border the mandated daily intake of fat, salt and sugar for an adult. Now, one samosa is equal to 200 to 300 calories, of which the fat content is nearly 10 to 20 grams of saturated and trans fats. Carbohydrates are 20 to 30 grams, while sodium can range from 77 to 423 milligrams. One jalebi is 150 calories with 3.5 grams of saturated fat and trans fats, carbohydrates at 29 grams, but just one jalebi has 19 grams of sugar. The WHO advisory is to just have 25 grams of sugar in a whole day. So now this has brought to light the obesity alarm in our country. Bharat ranks third in the globe, following the United States and China in the obesity index. Over 70% of Bharat's urban population is currently overweight. Nearly 8 crore Bharatiya are obese, with 1 crore aged between the ages of 5 and 19 itself. Now, obesity among children under the age 5 was 2.1% in 2015-2016 and rose to 3.4% in 2019-2021. So this is the COVID lockdown period that saw a sharp rise in obesity, with a lot of people who had lack of exercise at home and eating, and especially children. 20,000 weight loss surgeries have been reported in 2019 versus just 800 in 2009. Now, the alarming rise can be seen if we just compare 1990 with 2022. As per a Lancet study in 1990, 1.1 million men were obese. In 2022, it was 26 million. 2.4 million women were obese in 1990. In 2022, it was 44 million. And 0.2 million boys were obese in 1990. In 2022, it was 7.3 million. 0.2 million girls were obese in 1990. And in 2022, it was 5.2 million. So we have a serious problem at our hands. But let's get a move on here. And before we leave, it's not just the problem with our own health, but it's also got to do, let's share with you something which has got to do with national security and our own internal security. So there are various levels. We need to do something about how we eat, what we do. But along with that, there are some actions that have been taken which are preemptive on the eastern side. The proscribed United Liberation Front of Assam, or ULFA-I, claimed that 3 of its top leaders were killed and several others injured in drone and missile strikes in Myanmar's Sagaing region. The terrorist organization issued statements on Sunday and blamed the attacks on its mobile camps on the Indian Army. The army denied any role in the attacks, but the strikes mark a direct challenge to China's deniability model, where Beijing has relied on non-state actors such as insurgent groups and private security contractors to exert influence in neighboring countries while maintaining plausible deniability. CNN News 18 has learned that Bharat's decisive action has not only exposed this model but also strategically undermined China's reach into key areas, particularly Myanmar's border regions and parts of India's northeastern states like Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh. The targets hit include the ULFA's Eastern Command headquarters of Hoyat Basti and camps in Wakhtam Basti. As per intel reports, the leadership of ULFA-I and NSCN-K in Sagaing region has been dismantled. Now, this is also a strategic strike from Bharat on the Belt and Road Initiative. Operation goes far beyond targeting insurgent groups. Insurgent groups are being armed by Chinese grey market arms networks that have been targeted. Now, grey market arms networks acted as proxies for Beijing in Myanmar. So these grey market proxies actually operate in the Yunnan province, and PLA, because it cannot get directly involved, uses the grey market to arm these proxies. Guarded critical infrastructure. What did these proxies do? They guarded critical infrastructure linked to the BRI. Intel sources also indicate that the crucial Kyaikhew-Mandalay corridor has been disrupted. It connects China to the Indian Ocean. Insurgent groups used to ensure Chinese logistics supply chains. China's ambitions to bypass the Malacca Strait now is at risk. China's bid to secure energy routes via Myanmar also now is at risk. China's informal security buffer in the region has now been comprehensively struck. For Myanmar's military junta, which has been struggling to maintain control over large parts of the country, particularly in Sagaing, Chin and the Magwe regions, the timing of Bharat's airstrikes could be a mixed blessing. The junta, already facing fierce resistance from the People's Defense Forces or PDF, has been losing ground to ethnic militia. Additionally, Myanmar's increasing dissatisfaction with Chinese interference has brought the country closer to New Delhi in recent months. Now, while the junta may not have officially aligned itself with Bharat, the attacks on ULFA-I and NSCN-K may shift Myanmar's stance. The junta has shown signs of frustration with Chinese influence in its internal affairs, and this new pressure from Bharat could push Myanmar to recalibrate its relationship with Beijing. So we'll see how that's. And a quick update on the AI-171 probe, as preliminary report of Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau seems to hang in between a possible technical error involving fuel control switches and suspected confusion among pilots. The Indian Commercial Pilots Association has firmly rejected the tone and tenor of the report, suggesting a bias towards pilot error. It further reiterated the demand for pilot representatives as an observer in the probe team, stressing the need for transparency and accountability. Backing the pilots' concerns, former Civil Aviation Secretary, has also raised red flags, lending weight to calls for transparency and accountability in the probe. But Air India CEO Campbell Wilson has pointed out that preliminary report did not find any mechanical or maintenance issues with the aircraft and its engines, nor was there any abnormality during takeoff. Meanwhile, following the report's release, airlines across Bharat have begun inspecting fuel lock systems on their fleets. Significantly, Etihad Airways, which operates Boeing 787s like the one involved in the incident, has issued a directive urging extra caution with fuel control switches and ordered mechanism inspections.
I mean, I would go along with their objection because there should be a senior pilot dealing with who has dealt with 787, Dreamliner or Boeing, or even 737, a person who's experienced in this kind of aircraft. He should be there. That way, I think they should now include it if they pointed it out.
Your first reaction when the, and I have to tell you this, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Member of Parliament, has also now written to the Civil Aviation Minister saying the way this report has been leaked and the way motive is being insinuated on part of the pilots, it's unfair and intervention is required. Your first reaction?
Well, it's too early to put a blame on anyone. And I have been hearing it on the television, some retired captains, they are coming and attributing it. Well, I do not know their understanding of the report. But the fact remains that a substantive but a preliminary report has been submitted by the AIIMS with a factual situation and what all happened in the aircraft and the timings and the processes and the failure has been denoted. But beyond that, the AIIMS in its report has not apportioned the blame on A or B. In that situation, analyzing and coming back and putting a blame on the captains per se is unfair. Whether the captains, whether the company, whether Boeing company or for the management or for Air India, it's very, very unfair. They are the rightful body. They would have international consultations. They would be able to analyze the wreckage. They would be able to analyze what actually happened in the cockpit, and which they have done beautifully. It is for them to put on a piece of paper whose fault was it. Whatever time they take, they should come.
Well, we'll end with sport. Heartbreaking loss for Bharat at Lord's. Put up a brave fight with Ravindra Jadeja, Bumrah and rearguard action coming in with Mohammad Siraj. But that ball just rolled back on. He played it, defended it, rolled back on. And England have won by 22 runs, 2-1 up in the 5-match test series. But let's shift focus and take you through what happened at the Wimbledon. Beyond thrilling tennis, the spotlight was also on the royal box that was buzzing with star-studded Indian presence. So even as Yannick Sinner helped him to the Wimbledon, beating Carlos Alcaraz, Janvi Kapoor arrived hand-in-hand with Shikhar Paharia. And the tournament also saw Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas, along with Anushka Sharma, Virat Kohli, Avneet Kaur and cricket icon Sachin Tendulkar. There are the top stylish moments from this year's Wimbledon.
This year at Wimbledon, all eyes keep sneakily drifting toward the royal box, where an unexpected wave of Indian star power is stealing the spotlight with some serious style swagger. The latest to grace the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club is Janvi Kapoor, who arrived at the semi-final on July 11, hand in hand with her rumoured beau Shikhar Paharia. Sure, they came for the tennis, but honestly, they were the main event. When your maybe boyfriend doubles as your Wimbledon +1, the rumours turn into a stylish soft launch. Janvi floated in a floral embroidered checkered dress that struck the perfect balance between sporty ease and summer chic, while Shikhar kept it classic and sharp in a tailored suit. Their courtside appearance quickly lit up social media feeds because, well, it was pretty hard to miss. But let's rewind a bit. This Desi Wimbledon takeover started earlier with none other than Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas on July 2. The power couple arrived at centre court looking like they just stepped out of a Ralph Lauren campaign. Priyanka dazzled in a dreamy cotton dress with a halter neckline and gentle pleats. Nick complimented her effortlessly in a sharp blue on blue suit, the ultimate dashing +1. Next up, Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli casually strolled in, proving once again that sometimes less is definitely more. She wore soft, tailored whites and he went classic in a brown blazer. And perhaps the sweetest moment came courtesy of Neena Gupta, who attended with her daughter Masaba Gupta.
Presented by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Okay, a statement coming in right now from Air India. This is about the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, the AAIB report that was released over the weekend, the preliminary report that investigated why the air crash happened in the manner that it did in Ahmedabad. This is the statement that the Air India CEO Campbell Wilson has said. He said the report found no mechanical or maintenance issues with the aircraft or engines and all mandatory maintenance tasks had been completed. There was no issue with the quality of fuel and no abnormality with the takeoff roll. The pilots had passed their mandatory pre-flight breathalyzer and there were no observations pertaining to their medical status. Now he's also said, it's important to point, he's also said, I would also remind that out of an abundance of caution and under the oversight of the DGCA, every Boeing 787 aircraft operating in our fleet was checked within days of the accident and all were found fit. We continue to perform all necessary checks. This is the first statement we've got of this nature coming out post the probe report. We'll just go over to reporters to bring you more context. Remember, this is the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau report that came out. Again, it's just the preliminary report. It had just come out. We'll go over to reporters to understand a little bit more around it in just a second. We'll also tell you more about the key questions because remember, that's what we focused on in the last few hours, the unanswered questions in this report and what it remains. Remember, the central conclusion right at the heart of that report and of this crash was this question of how the switches transitioned from run to cut-off position within a second of each other moments after liftoff. And again, this report had highlighted that one of the pilots was recorded asking the other why he cut off the fuel, to which the other pilot responded saying he did not. More than that is not given in terms of transcript between the two pilots in that preliminary report. Now we'll just go over to our colleague Anvit to understand more. Anvit, the first formal response of Air India CEO Campbell Wilson coming in, how do you read it? He's touched on a few different points. He's touched on the pilot's health. He's talked about the health of the aircraft. Just touch on each of the key points here, then we'll come to you with more questions.
See, first of all, I would like to start with the point that he has made that all the aircrafts were inspected. So after this incident that happened, DGCA had issued an advisory asking Air India and other airlines to make sure that there are multi-layered inspections of the aircraft, which was done, and DGCA had also later on released a statement saying that majority of these aircrafts are found to be fit for operations. Also, he has made a point on the health of the pilots, and the report, the AIB report, also goes on to mention that the pilots had got adequate rest period, and also the crew that was called to perform duty on the flight, they were also found fit to operate. But when we come to the point of see the switch being transitioning, like you mentioned, from run to cut off, see one pilot has been asked, has the transcript that has been released, it says that one pilot was asking the other as to how did the switch transition, but he says I did not not do so. So the later, the rest of the part of the transcript that has not been made public. So the pilots association, since the beginning, they have been saying that this portion of transcript that has been released, this points out to something happened, something went wrong in the cockpit. So they have been making a point that this completely puts the onus on the pilots, and therefore they are saying that there are certain points that need to be kept in mind. One is that they are saying that the committee that is investigating the matter, there are no undersigned in the report, so their name should have been mentioned. Also, they are demanding that there should be inclusion of pilots who had previously handled Boeing 787. So these are certain points that need to be looked at. But if we talk about the report and this Campbell statement, see the transition that was made from run to cut off, the report does not go on to mention that whether it was manual or was it mechanical. So we have spoken to officers in DGC and MOCA as well. So they have also said that these are initial reports, these are only indication as to what happened, but how it happened would probably follow in the later detailed report which the AIB is currently working on. Also remember one thing, that there are certain aspects which are currently under investigation. The data recovered from the FDR, that is also still being analyzed. The fuel that had been recovered from the auxiliary power unit, the APU, that is also still under analysis. So certain areas are still being investigated, and there will be many more additions and findings to this report that has been released. This is a preliminary report. We had also been reporting since the beginning that this report will only tell as to what happened, but how it happened and what led to it, that will follow in the detailed report.
Okay, Amrit, I just want to ask you a question, and we've devoted attention to this on the show.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post, and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. More than a month after the tragedy in Ahmedabad, the Air India crash report is out.